Well, we have got a jam-packed Wednesday with tea, baby. Yes, we do. Now let's get to what's in the brew, because this flew underneath the radar yesterday, and it should be all over the fucking news. Now, you know how Daddy Double Pants likes to tout about all the investments coming in from the Saudis, friend? Only we haven't seen any of those investments here. Hell, he just had to say the other day that he's going to have to bail out the farmer in some kind of way by using the tariff money that actually caused the farmer to go bankrupt. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm about to talk about the Saudis and the Saudi play. Yes, indeed. And I just want to preface this video by saying expeditiously that in no kind of fucking way am I an Islamophobe. Oh no, if you know me and you've been following my content for a while, you already know my son has an Arab name, baby, because I used to be a fucking Muslim, honey. Yes, indeed. So I have no shade that way towards a Muslim's or an Arab's way. But what I will say is that they like to say death to America every other day. And what else I will say is thanks to a deal from the orange man sitting up there on the hill and, of course, his son-in-law, Kushner, baby. Now that publicly traded and owned company, EA Sports, no more. The video game company, baby, they are now privately owned by the Arabs, honey. Daddy's new very, very close personal friends. That's right, it's no longer a public company. It is private and is now owned thanks to a deal that cost somewhere around $55 billion, baby. It is privately owned by the Saudis. Now, there's so many ways that I can approach this cup of tea. But firstly, let's talk about the fact that these video games, this EA company, video games, particularly sports games, and by the way, the EA owns the Madden games, which are huge, the FIFA Cup games, which are huge, but they also bought shares in the Sims game, too, which just so happens to be one of the platforms that has the largest LGBTQIA community that play. It's now in the hands of the Saudi man, along with shares in Pokemon Go, Monopoly Go. There are so many games we're talking about here, dear. And I think I should point out to you that two-thirds of American youth, teen to young adult, play sports games here in the US of A. Two-thirds. Imagine the amount of influence you could have over two-thirds of a country through video games, dear. Like Call of Duty and Madden football. Two-thirds of the country will now be under the influence of Saudi Arabia through video games and sports entertainment, dear. Two-thirds of our country will now be influenced by that Prince guy who thought it was a good idea to unalive journalist who had out-of-the-way things to say about his human rights violations, dear. I don't mean to bring you any fear, but how is this America first, baby? And I also want to touch on another point of this deal here, because we just learned, now that there's been a revision to the jobs report, that just in private equity alone, we lost over 35,000 jobs. Not federal jobs that went away, private companies lost over 35,000 employees last month alone. How many people in the US of A do you think that EA Games employs today? Thousands. How do you think their job security is going to fare when that company is no longer owned by people here? When EA Sports moves all of its headquarters to Saudi Arabia. And Daddy touted about making the Middle East rich again, dear, with all of these intertwining business deals. You see, from what I can see, it looks like it's only Daddy and his family that are raking it in, while currently in the US of A, they're actually stripping away jobs from Americans today. Yeah. You can look more into this. There's several articles about the new business deal with the Saudis, dear. And it's not just video games we're talking about here. They're coming after all of our sports. I mean, after all, sports are really big money makers in America. But unfortunately, thanks to Daddy, that money to be made here in America, dear, is going to go to a pocket way the fuck over there. And by the time any of you notice what's going on here, Daddy won't be up there no more. Okay. There's that bit of tea for you today.